You wake up to find your favorite cereal missing from every store, not just in your town, but everywhere. At first it feels temporary, a small glitch in a big system. But as days turn to weeks, people begin to change. The calm shoppers you once stood beside now guard their carts like treasure. Online orders vanish, prices double overnight. Every purchase starts to feel like a moral decision. Most people think supply chains fail because of ships, ports, or fuel. But the real collapse starts somewhere else, inside us. It begins with perception, the belief that there won't be enough. That fear spreads faster than any shortage. And once the mindset shifts from patience to panic, the global system doesn't just slow down, it fractures. Day 1 feels confusing. People refresh delivery apps, waiting for restocks that never come. Warehouses show inventory mismatch. Trucks idle with half loads because one missing part stalls the whole route. By day 2, panic starts to whisper. Supermarkets limit items per customer. Online influencers film empty aisles, turning fear into trend. That's when psychology becomes the main driver, not logistics. Day 3. Behavior flips. Calm turns to calculation. Communities hoard, businesses hide reserves, and governments issue quiet alerts. The invisible network that once moved everything from coffee beans to medicine begins to seize. What we're watching isn't just a shortage. It's a shift from trust to self-preservation. The collapse moves faster in the mind than in the market. Fear hits first. Not the loud kind, the quiet panic of realizing how dependent we are on systems we don't control. People check expiration dates, ration quietly, and scroll for answers that don't exist. Then comes denial. A subtle voice saying, "It'll fix itself." That's the most dangerous phase, because it delays adaptation. History shows every crisis widens the gap between those who react and those who rationalize. Next emerges resilience, the shift from consuming to conserving. Families form micro-networks to trade essentials. Communities learn to repair, reuse, and reimagine normal. But not everyone makes that shift. Some double down on scarcity thinking, defending rather than cooperating. It's here that collective psychology decides the outcome. Whether the world rebuilds or unravels depends on how we think, not just what we have. If you're the kind of person who stays calm when others panic, you already understand the psychology of resilience. In every crisis, identity becomes survival. The ones who endure aren't the strongest. They're the ones who can think clearly when systems fail. If that sounds like you, subscribe now. Because here we don't predict chaos. We learn to stay human inside it. By week 2, the shortage has changed shape. It's no longer about food or fuel. It's about trust. Governments announce ration programs, but rumors move faster than truth. One false post can trigger real-world panic within minutes. That's when the social collapse begins, not in violence, but in disbelief. The invisible glue of cooperation starts to dissolve. People stop believing that anyone else will play fair. The system that once felt infinite now feels personal and fragile. Every collapse hides an invitation to shift from reaction to response. Scarcity exposes our blind spots, but it also reveals new strengths. Psychologists call it cognitive reframing, the ability to see crisis as challenge, not doom. When people reframe, creativity spikes. A broken link in a supply chain becomes a spark for local production. A shortage turns into innovation. A community that once depended on distant systems starts to rebuild from the ground up. Resilience isn't built from stockpiles. It's built from mindset, adaptability, awareness, cooperation. That's how you own a crisis instead of being owned by it. The supply chain didn't just fail because parts went missing. It failed because trust did. And once trust erodes, every shortage becomes psychological first, physical second, But mindset spreads too. So does calm. And that's how recovery begins. One choice at a time. If this scenario made you think, share it with someone you'd want beside you when the system breaks. Subscribe for more psychological breakdowns and explore tools for resilience and preparedness. What would you do first if global supply chains stopped tomorrow?